So I decided to take you to Target today here in Crofton, Maryland, to show you what it's like in the stores. It is a Sunday afternoon. It's 12:38 p.m. Our church that we go to was they canceled their actual physical gathering for service, but they streamed their service online. We weren't able to watch it this morning because my daughter excuse me, my daughter had her birthday party that I mentioned in a previous video and had a couple friends stay the night. So we had those friends over in the morning. We ended up watching Frozen 2, which Disney Plus released early on, Disney released early on Disney Plus for their subscribers, which was awesome. So the girls watched Frozen 2 this morning, and so we weren't able to do the service. We could have, but it was fun to spend it with my daughter, celebrating her, the extended part of her birthday. Anyway, I am here in the parking lot at Target, about to go in, and the parking lot is quite full, honestly. So I'm I'm a little self-conscious about making videos publicly, so I might not do much talking when I'm in there, but I'd like to show you the shelves and just give you insight into the atmosphere, because I'm not really sure what it's gonna be like. Yesterday it was a lot more calm than it's been, but during the week it's been pretty not, people aren't being rude or anything. It's just really, really busy, really long lines, a lot of empty shelves. But Saturday seemed to calm down quite a bit, so I was curious what it would be like today. But with the parking lot being quite full, I'm anticipating longer lines and a lot more empty shelves. So I'm gonna bring you in. I'm touching my face. See, this is why we need hand sanitizers, because we touch our face when we don't mean to on the go. So I'm gonna put some hand sanitizer on my hands, head out into the store, and I'll be with you back in a bit. Okay, so I don't have the ability to flip my camera front to back. It's just my Android Samsung phone, and as far as I'm aware, I can't switch it back and forth. I can pause, stop, and take pictures, but mid-recording I can't change your view so that you can see see what I'm seeing. So when I get in the store, I'll turn it around and show you. Okay, so I'm inside the store. Return line only has one person there. Yeah, it's a lot more chill than you would think. There's just a couple people in line at the self-checkout. Let me see. There's no long lines at the registers. It's been a lot more calm this weekend. My husband said coronavirus takes a break on the weekends. Here, I'll show you the feminine hygiene shelf is pretty empty, which I do find a little ironic, but I guess no woman wants to be without during that time. Let's see. So these are the shelves with medicine, cold and flu medicine, stuff like that. They're all pretty well picked over. Sorry, excuse me. I'm gonna pause you just for a moment. So I'm trying to be respectful and not get other people on camera too much. But so here's the cold and flu shelf. There's still a little bit of that. But if you are looking for medicine, you want an expectorant and an antihistamine that'll dry you up as well. And then over here, I think this is where they have all the alcohol and the peroxide, and those are pretty all picked over. They're all gone. I kind of stopped buying alcohol though, stopped trying to buy alcohol. I had my one bottle that I had from before the coronavirus hit, so I didn't buy a bottle when people started stocking up. And then when everything was picked over, I was like, oh, I need to get a bottle. But I realized it's really not that helpful, because you need like a percentage of over 90, so that when you mix it with vitamin E, and aloe and any essential oils that you add to it, or glycerin, so that it still is retaining its 60% concentration or 60% of the mixture to be effective. And I have not been able to find anything over 70 in the stores. So this is where you would normally find the the Lysol and Clorox wipes. These shelves are all empty. See, I just touched my face again. I'm gonna get my hand sanitizer out. This is why my hands get so dry. After I touch my face, I always do hand sanitizer. So I also heard recommended when you do the hand sanitizer, make sure you put on enough on your hands to rub for 20 seconds, the same as when you're washing with soap. So if you notice over here, there's plenty of paper towels. Those are not picked over.
Are you doing chip then? Okay.
However, let's see, garbage bags are getting picked over some. See, they had antimicrobial odor protection. Those ones are still there. But this is where, oh my goodness. So, this is definitely empty behind me. Wow. Last time I was here, there was definitely a lot more selection. Completely empty. So, yeah, it is pretty picked over. I'm quite surprised. I thought it was going to be better, but I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. It was just a lot more calm yesterday, but gonna see here they have quite a bit of, or a fair bit of tissue paper, but pretty picked over. This is the toilet paper aisle from the opposite direction. I guess if somebody's desperate, there is one pack down there on the opposite end. Let's see. And then a lot of the refrigerated stuff is picked over. I personally have not bought any extra food. Aside from, I think I bought a couple weeks ago or a week ago, I bought a few extra jars of peanut butter as a reserve, and I bought like 2 bags of beans, and I think 1 bag of rice, but we're actually currently using the rice because I just don't feel like there's much to worry about. You know, even though things are shutting down a lot, products are still being made, food is still being made, things are still being manufactured, and everything's going to be restocked. It's going to get restocked in a few days to a week, and I don't think it's going to be an issue. I could be wrong, but I just don't feel like it will be an issue. You know, if you've ever watched pandemic type movies like Contagion, that's one of my favorite movies. Trying to find an aisle where I can go down and talk without people being there. Okay, so if you've ever watched those pandemic type of movies, people are so sick they're not able to go and make products anymore, so the shelves get empty and they don't get restocked. But that's not the case here. This is country is still going, things are still being produced, things are still shipping out, so the shelves are going to restock, and they might be a little low and it might be hard to find it because people keep grabbing it. But if you come in the morning after the store has been restocked, you're going to get food. You know, if you look at the shelves, you can't live on chips forever, but there's food. You're not going to starve. No one's going to starve. This is lots and lots of protein bars and healthy snacks in this aisle. And here's our Easter area. We buy a lot of candy in our country. But people aren't buying as much, it seems, these days. We still have a couple weeks till Easter. I personally already shopped for Easter candy because I didn't think I'd want to go out in a few weeks when things were getting more, I figured they're probably going to get more crazy. So I didn't want to have to go out shopping for Easter supplies for my kids in a couple weeks. So I already got all our Easter stuff for our kids, and it looks like people are not doing that. So this is totally unrelated to the video, but I just saw these pool noodles, and I love these for keeping my kids' boots upright and my boots upright, so I'm gonna grab a couple of these. I think I heard that there is like a pandemic game here at Target. I'm curious if they have it in stock. I heard about this. They have an escape room in a box. I have not tried those games. I'm curious about them. But I heard that there was a new pandemic game out. I'm going to pause so you're not watching me look for the game. If I find it, I'll show you. So I'm not sure. Like, this sounds like, when I read it, it sounds a lot like the pandemic game we already own. Which I love. I love our pandemic game. I will post a link to the pandemic game we own and play. And when I read the description on the back of this box, it sounds just like the game we play, but the roles seem to be called something different. So I'm going to look up reviews of this later and see if I can figure out if this game is the same one. But anyway, I love playing Pandemic. It's a great game, and right now, I think when you're stuck at home and you're gonna have to you aren't gonna be able to go out for entertainment, it's a great thing that you could be doing, and a humorous thing you could be doing while you are home during the shutdown. So I was walking through the store, and out of the corner, I often like going into the office supply area and the planners. I just like those type of supplies. I like making my own planners and things like that. And I noticed out of the corner of my eye an area of the store that looked pretty empty, and it is the tissue paper section of the gift wrapping area of the store. I think people are trying to make their own face masks. I think that's what they're stocking up on tissue paper in anticipation of having to make their own face masks. I have not looked into it. I don't know. I've wondered that myself because I have a lot of coffee filters. A coffee maker of mine broke recently. I only owned it for like 2 months and it broke. And I have a lot of leftover coffee filters, and part of me wondered the same thing. I wonder if filters can work to filter out the coronavirus, and because I did hear in the news that it was actually quite a large virus compared with, relatively speaking, compared to other viruses. I could be wrong. Please don't look that up and double check that information of mine. But that kind of makes, I think people might be stocking up on tissue paper to kind of fashion their own masks. This aisle isn't quite as bad, but this one's mostly gift bags. There's only a little bit of tissue paper in here. So I got my pool noodles. I got a couple office supplies, true to my nature. Because I homeschool, I need a lot of organizational supplies to keep our homeschool supplies tidy and functioning efficiently for me. But otherwise, it's not too bad. Like I said, a lot of things are picked over, but everyone's calm. I think the thing to remember is that stuff is still being made. Stores, shelves are still being stocked. If things were different, if people were, dying in the streets and the percentage of people falling ill was higher, like in movies like Contagion. It might be a different story and production would go down, but thankfully it's not quite as bad and production is still up. So I think that's what you're going to generally find. As I was checking out, a cashier was saying it's been pretty calm over the weekend. She was talking to a lady nearby, and she said Thursday it was really crazy, and I think that it's very accurate. I don't remember specifically what happened. That might have been when the NBA closed and the national state of emergency was declared. I can't remember what day the national emergency was declared. It was either Thursday or Friday. That's when everybody kind of freaked out and started buying everything. But I don't want to diminish the this seriousness of the coronavirus. It is serious. It's definitely something we need to be careful about and wash our hands and practice social distancing. But the stereotypical element of scarcity of products that we often associate with pandemics is not really relevant or accurate in this case, because the people who do the producing, people who do the manufacturing, are still functioning. Even though they're doing social distancing, they are still producing, they are still making products. In some cases they're functioning at minimum capacity, but it is still functioning, so shelves are still being stocked, and there isn't that deep concern for supply. So if you're watching this and you're in another country that hasn't been hit hard and things haven't been getting bought up, it's smart, as I think either the CDC or WHO recommended, to always have a couple weeks supply of products. In most cases, that's like water in the event of hurricanes or tornadoes or earthquakes or something like that. So water and food and things like that. So if you don't have some extra supplies, it's good to have it. Our freezers, we have a lot of vegetables frozen in our freezer. I have just because I end up slowly building up over time, not to have a disaster plan, but just because it's kind of how I run with my kitchen. I just always have a surplus, so I don't have that need to stock up that other people might have. So yeah, if you're in a country that hasn't been hit hard and you don't have extras, then it might be smart to have a few extras. Get some beans, dried beans, store it in an airtight container. Peanut butter, if you're not allergic, or almond butter. I'm trying to think. I don't know if you're allergic to peanuts and almonds. I don't know if there's a better alternative, but that's a good protein source. That's not the healthiest, but it'll get you by if you have to stay at home and you're running out of ideas or you don't have meat available. But and toilet paper, people say they don't understand the run on toilet paper. Of course, toilet paper is not going to cure you of coronavirus or protect you from the coronavirus, but it will allow you to stay at home longer. It will ensure that you can maintain the comforts of home a bit longer. So the toilet paper is, don't buy too much, because you want to be fair to your neighbors, but it's okay to buy an extra, because that's the CDC and WHO's recommendation, is to have extra on hand. And toilet paper is an element that as one of our basic needs in modern societies. We see that we really don't want to have to use an alternative to toilet paper. So I understand buying an extra, but don't buy out the shelves. Don't buy a ton more. Just think about how much you might use in a 2-week period. That's probably just for a larger family. It's probably 2 to 3 packages. For a smaller family, maybe 1 to 2 extra packages. You don't need a lot to have an emergency supply. So just grab your emergency supply and then leave the rest for others, because it's okay. They're going to restock the shelves. You're going to have access to more. But in case you want to be able to stay home and they're doing the social distancing and you don't want to have to go out to stores, then that's okay.